see a couple of Ling versus Lancelot matchups
Mm-hmm.
where it's still a bit of a coin toss for me if it's gonna be a Lancelot coming out on top, if it's gonna be a Ling. Well, almost more than likely it is going to be Ling. But with that being said, I like how they went for the Farsa pick here for Execration. I also like the Basha pickup. It's been a while since we've seen Basha. And I feel like that is going to be one of the crucial factors here in terms of going into the team fights against Onic PH. Now, with that being said, I kind of want to dive into the game and see how the initial rotation is going to be for Onic PH here in order to stop Execration from even getting a chance to get a foothold in this game.
Yep, but without further ado, Nomad, this is our fourth series of the first game between Execration and Onic PH. So this is going to be pretty interesting because looking at the positioning of our teams, Onic will be going for a compressed route, while Execration here on the other hand will be sticking to the fundamental lane in terms of.
Ooh, it's a Zapnu Grok and a Chaknu Baksha. That's interesting to note. So we're not going to be seeing the immortal Grok there. But as that's happening, a bit of a scuffle here for the blue buff of Execration. They're going to be disengaging.
I think so far this is pretty still stale for both sides of the team because as early as this to really engage in team fights is pretty risky, and if you're going to really engage it, you have to be really confident to pinpoint your target. But now I think gold is the priority here. The same thing with XP, and that is what both of our teams are focusing on right now.
Yeah, Hate going in for the initial spike of 200 gold ahead of his entire team and 100 ahead of Wise. They're gonna try to funnel as much as they can, everything that they can towards Hate, and they're gonna stick together here, leaving Zapnu all alone in the top lane, fending for himself against that Ling and Uranus trying to stop him from pushing out. While it's happening today, going to be hiding in that brush just to get information for his team.
This is a pretty interesting rotation for the side of Onic PH on the other hand, because yes, I get the prioritization wherein Ling gets the resources here and all throughout, and I also like it that they are leaving the Dilar here onto the top side behind face to face with Zapnu here. I think they're just really going to stay there on the top for quite some time while we will be witnessing some action here into the middle lane. And speaking of action,
it's going to be
that was a fresh pick-off for the side of Execration.
Fresh pick-off indeed. It is a 1-for-1 trade. They will be able to secure Wise. No, not yet. Almost connects with them.
With a little break of health. Run, mama, run. And that is what Wise did in a very close call.
Yeah, you know how tires sometimes get dislodged from your wheel, from your car. I think that's what happened there to Wise. Almost got hit by a tire that's running at 100 miles per hour. Speaking of 100 miles an hour, Glorious Pathway is going to be enabling Onic PH to run 100 miles an hour here as Execration tries to hunt for Wise. There goes the Tempest of Blaze being committed defensively.
That is a question, because if that Tempest of Blaze is pinned down in a wrong direction, that would have been a pickup for the side of Execration. So, okay, that was a bit of uncalled for, but going back into the game phase we have right now, Execration so far is the one into bringing the momentum here against Onic. And Onic, of course, we still can't count them out right now because in terms of the visual here on the objectives, they have it. And they will be coordinating at the members, especially Benny Cutie right here. It's a bit dispersed, but still will be taking a pick up with the Sandwich Claws, followed by the battle with the exchange. but then Lancelot will be having that cleanup there. So that's 2-1 in favor of Execration, because after that, they will be transitioning to the turtle. But here, looks like Oh My Venus and Chaknor are just poking each other out, and Oh My Venus really dancing swiftly, and really lucky that he wasn't really hit by Chaknor.
But that was actually good zoning from Chaknu, just preventing Oh My Venus from being able to pop his ultimate near the inside the turtle pit. But with that, that's going to be the turtle game being secured by Execration, and the mid lane turret going down as a trade for the top tier 1 turret there for Execration. Now, Doris Pathway once again being committed. The Beast of Bat from Oh My Venus will be securing the kill onto E2 Max. Zapnu's gonna go down as well. This is how Onic is equalizing things. Execration shouldn't be giving away free kills to Onic.
They kind of overextended their turf right there in attempting to getting that blue buff. And, like what you said, this is the way how Onic would compensate things, just really taking advantage of that overcommitment. And the transitioning from that jungle side to pushing turrets is something that Onic has in their checklist, because other than locking in the main objectives, they also want to consider here the map control, so that it would be, there's a lot of space. There's a great source, and speaking of resource, look at that beautiful by that Lancelot right here, and there wasn't enough reflex for Onic to actually go and respond, and will be to disengage instead.
They need to control hate. They need to control hate. That's what Onic needs to do here. Hate does have the turtle buff, which means this top lane turret is going to melt. Speaking of melt, that is how D-Lar's HP melted.
Yeah.
Turtle
It took him a
resurrecting
split
soon.
second, and then he's no longer part of the fight. And meanwhile, Kaja gets the pull onto Iaku. Yeah. And their side catches him off guard. Here comes the Tempest of Blades catching a Farsa. There goes the knockoff with a wild charge, but not a lot of people are alive here for Onic. They are going to be backing off, and it's now a 3v3. The turtle is down to low HP. Turtle's going to be secured by Hate. Wise, next in target here, next in line here for Hate. He goes away from D-Lar. D-Lar's still on the wide chase. Chaco's going to be able to protect him. They're going to just manage to survive that D-Lar chase down.
A very close call for the Reigns back there, and I was about to say earlier into that team fight that I think it would be best if the Onic would have burned down first the turtle buff that was in the hands of Hate before engaging into any team fight, but it was a break of too late, as they can get one member of Onic. But to retaliate that, Onic is really getting pickups here and there. But you have to take note, for the side of Onic, they really have to control or prevent Hate here, because if ever he scales a lot with the kills that they're giving him, this might be a potential, game for Execration.
Oh, look at the damage because of the Sanguine Claws from Oh My Venus. I mean, there are a lot of people here there are a lot of members here from the side of Onic and Execration that are starting to become a problem, and that is Oh My Venus as well. The Sicilian from Oh My Venus is something that you need to control. Speaking of control, there goes the Doris Pathway to control Chaknu and Zapnu here. Tempest of Blades not going to be connecting to anybody. Zapnu finally falling down, and this has to be a disengage from Execration. They're overstaying their welcome here. Turtle's going to be spawning in about 30 seconds. That's going to be the wisest, the best decision that Execration can go for here. Shove out the bottom lane and the mid lane, go for the turtle. That top lane engagement should not have happened that way.
Ooh, that, if I'm not mistaken, that was steel buff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but again, going back right here, this is the thing that they're trying to control for the side of Onic. But if you noticed earlier, there were a lot of people onto the top side, and the only one remaining was Grok, right? I think for Onic to make this work is to transition or to change their target hero, and that is what they're gonna do. Really canceling out the core damager first by getting Hate into the early phases of the team clash, and now they will transition. Now right here, I think Onic has the time on this tower diving with no hesitation. Blink will be going in with the Tempest of Blades onto that tower, but manages to disengage enough to really make the HP of E2 Max and Zapnu really low and time for them to disengage. And this is a good counter back for the side of Onic Page with that sandwich clause. Goes for the kill, and they're not really over because Ling right here is on killing spree into that tower dive.
Execration should not have chased there. If they wanted to come back into the game, they should have just went out with that turtle buff, backed off, reset it, wait for everybody else to come back to life. That chase by Zapnu was totally unnecessary. He was already down to low HP, and Oh My Venus just managed to connect the best Sanguine Claw to catch Zapnu, manages to erase him. And because of that, Onic Page converted that kill into a tier 1 turret and a tier 2 turret in the mid lane.
Yes, I agree with you on that and that's also a thing for Onic Page to really, kill down first the core damager of Execration, which was hit onto that attempted turtle take. And yeah, like what you said, I think Zapnu should, that's where the salty Splatoon really gets in for the side of Execration, getting a bit greedy. And speaking of greedy right here, looks like Ling will be taking, and Uranus as well, will be taking that a bottom tier turret all throughout, allowing them more space into our map right here, and which limits Execration's resources take right here.
All of a sudden, Hate's lead is no longer in question here. There is about 2,000 to 3,000 gold difference between him and Wise, and Wise is slowly becoming a problem here for Execration. There are minimum chances for Execration to catch him on the ground at this point. And every time he goes to the Tempest of Blades, Oh My Venus is going to be there to back everybody up, to catch everybody with the Sanguine Claws and force them inside that Tempest of Blades, dealing the maximum amount of damage for Onic.
And which is what Onic PH would essentially do, and especially in big fights that Execration has to offer. But the winning conditions for Execration right here is to, number one, I guess really deny Ling from actually getting into a fight or actually killing him first. And number two, to avoid really being all greedy and salty, because if they go in there one by one, trying to force something out, it's not really going to work from them and will be advantageous for Onic.
Yeah, the sour moves, as to what Leo said, should not have been in play here. Glorious Pathway here at the bottom lane. Your inhibitor turret is going to go down. Not a lot of HPs going down here. Execration, beautiful with that disengage, manages to salvage what is left of their inhibitor turret. Onic PH is going to be opting to reset here.
And reset because in terms of patient waiting, I think it's inside of Onic, because like what I said, they have the map and they just really, they don't need to rush into really pushing the turrets that they have right here. I think the optimal way for Onic to go all through is to just get the resources and probably wait for the Lord to spawn, or if there is a mistake coming from the Execration right here, I think that's also one good way into really getting pickoffs one by one.
I kind of want to see Zapnu and Chakno really
connect.
Yeah, with their wild charge and Chakno just knocking everybody up. That's what I want to see here from Execration, because they have multiple initiation tools.
Yes.
That's already written in stone. They have multiple initiation tools, but I'm not seeing very good initiates, especially from Zapnu.
Because they're dispersed all throughout the map. If you notice, Zapnu was constantly onto the top side, while Baksha here is, really focusing on the roam. So whenever the team fights are here, it's either one, it's lackluster in terms of manpower for the side of Execration, and number two, looking at right here, if they are individual or alone in a certain area, and you see that Onic PH has a lot of manpower there, it only goes to show that Onic won't hesitate to really take advantage of that tall. So there's one thing that you have to, and that's one thing you have to consider as well.
Yeah. A lot of things that they really have to consider here. But let's try to figure out the win conditions here for Execration. I mean, how would Execration bounce back from this? Onic PH is already dominating this after the 6 minute mark of the game, and the longer we go, the longer the lead, the bigger the lead is going to be for that Ling. How would Execration bounce back for this?
I think go and let Hate be in a position where he could target the squishier heroes of Onic PH. I think that it could be the Sicilian, but he has to be very precise on this one because we know how Oh My Venus could really place the Sanguine Claws in a very accurate manner. So he has that one factor to really look out for. And number two, yes, the Chak and Zap connection. They have to Chaknu has to do his usual ways by pinning down members of Onic PH with the Guardian's Barrier, followed by the Wild Charge, and of course at the same time with the Boxer utilities that Chaknu rather can bring. Zapnu, I'm sorry, was the one with the Grok.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tall order. Execration now. It's hard, it's doable, but what's going to be the mental fortitude of Execration going into this fight? You know, how can they meet the expectations to bounce back as we go back into the game here?
Mm-hmm. And looking here for the side of Onic PH, I think they are already going in a sturdier pace. I think they're ready to actually go for a potential engage, but focusing still onto the objectives by getting some turrets and will be split pushing this anytime soon. Applying pressure, but the Farsa doing a pretty good job in actually shoving it away. But again, Betty Cutie was in the verge of actually getting himself picked off, but luckily manages to come through. But here, though, this is a good defensing abilities of Execration, and Onic has to be, a little bit more, let's say, dispersed in terms of giving that split pushes.
The Execration, they're in the back foot here. They can't do split pushes unlike Onic PH because Onic PH is already pressuring the base here for Execration. 10 seconds until the Lord. That's the next possible objective here for Execration that they need to secure. But then again, they can barely get out of their side of the base.
Yeah, because of the map control that Onic possesses, and if that's Execration's target, that's the same thing for the side of Onic. Speaking of that, another engagement, Uranus will be taking a kill for himself. Itomax will be forced to actually disengage himself with that break of health, and that leaves -1 member of Execration. And now again transitioning to the Lord, that is the main strategy for Onic right here. But it looks like they will be opting for Zapnu first and really taking that pick off right here, securing another kill and another XP. But this is not yet over. Edumax will be forcing himself to back away because of Wise's plan. But looking at that, who got the Lord? It was Execration who actually secured themselves on the Lord there by the long run, Nomad. But I think they need to really act fast. But the downside of this is Execration is already down to 2 people. Middle lane is already exposed.
Yeah, this is the Luminous Sword, and they need to make sure that the Execration needs to make sure that they survive this fight. Onic PH at the brink of getting this game #1. Feathered Airstrike is going to be committed. Zapnu should not be overextending his welcome again together with Chaknu. They don't have enough firepower there. Goes for the Wild Charge, knocks a lot of people off guard, but the amount of damage from Onic PH is just way too much. Hate's finally up. They should have waited for Hate in that team fight in order for them to at least have a chance to come back here. But Execration manages to barely survive there.
They engaged in an untimely manner wherein the 3 other members were into the base defending their turf. That was, I think, a miscommunication for the side of Execration, in which, simply Onic went for the the opportunity. And that was a beautiful divine judgment by Benny Cutie, but up to what quality Tempest plays will be used right now. And look at that damage coming from Wise right here with another pickoff from himself. And Hate is really going all alone. That was 3 members of Onic PH.
This is game.
Yes.
I don't think Execration would be able to defend this push. That's a GG. Game number 2 is going to be in the works here for Execration.
And this is still good effort for the Force to actually push them away, but I think this is not enough because look at the damage that the Wise is inflicting, and just really securing the space for the side of Onic PH is the thing to boot. And you know, well, yeah, this game number 1 goes to Onic PH.
One more game for they potentially face Brent Esports tomorrow.